I think the part that I like that he clarified in the way that he did clarify it, people think that when it comes to Eminem, the game is clout chase.
Hmm.
And I think that he clarified very well in the sense where he's like, listen, I'm just letting y'all know that this guy's not the best. And he even said, because people like pulling up the clip where the game, said Eminem was the best and this and that. He even said they had us thinking that Eminem was the best. It's fine for him 20 years later, people, to feel like, you know what? I don't feel that way anymore. Where's the proof? Where's the
So,
evidence, as my man Coop would say? And so, 20 years after the fact that people start putting this notion out there that Eminem's one of the GOATs, we don't have the musical evidence. We just covered last episode that one of his biggest songs, the most revered song, the song that he did at the Super Bowl, Lose Yourself, wasn't even the hottest song on the 8 Mile soundtrack when it was out. Wankster was.
no,
And I
no,
don't
like,
care how much Wikipedia searches y'all can do. When that shit was out and people was outside, as my man Jarv says from the Rap Round Table,
outside.
Wankster was the record that was playing off of that soundtrack. It was not Lose Yourself. Man with the super chat says Game did say Cube is his GOAT. So he filled his suit. Go ahead, Cube. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Because I'm about to go in.
No, yeah, I felt you coming on. That's why I just went ahead and backed on up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want no smoke with you, Mike.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think some of the most striking things that he brought up here was, well, he brought up how, well, 50 played nice, M played nice. Look at the numbers that they did because they played nice. What could I have done had I played nice? And so he's kind of letting you know in code how the industry really works. And he's telling you in so many terms, it's like, yeah, like they tried to blackball me, but really the New York DJs got behind me and saved me and didn't have a choice but to bump me because my second album was really just as good as my first. But the label didn't want to push me
Yeah.
because I had pushed around the guys who really were the bullies that didn't play nice with me first. I push back. I go to New York, and these guys playing nice are the ones that get to sell all the records and get all the budget and get all the notoriety. And listen to what you're hearing this from the mouth of somebody who just sold 5 million records for the company.
Yeah.
And so,
And who was around all of this
who's around all
before
of this?
any of it even jumped off, with the exception of Eminem's early stuff. But yeah.
So I thought that was the most striking, his most striking points in here with me, and maybe it's just because I'm into like us being more financially literate as time goes along in my life. I just understand the value of our financial literacy in this community even more and more as I become older and become even more financially literate myself. Is the financial literacy moments, which is what when he's talking about Ye teaching him about the money and how the business side of it works. Well, I thought that maybe if Biggie would have been here, maybe that's what he was trying to say about Jay and looking up to Jay. Because that was actually where I went when I thought about it. It's like, well, he had reason, even though they were of comparable age and in the game at the same time. And you can keep in mind, at the time, Game's doing bigger numbers than Ye out the gate.
Yeah.
And so, but still, probably looked up to him because he's probably looking at like, hold on, why your money look like that? My money look like this. And Ye probably like, well, you signed to 4 different types of money. You know,
Well,
like,
I think the other thing of it too is the
you signed
fact
to this
that
guy, you signed to that guy, you signed to that guy, you signed to that guy. They all got to get a check before you get a check. Game, like, damn, they all got to get a check before I get a check. He like, yeah.
well, I think they knew that, right? I think they knew that. Not to interrupt you. I think that the thing is,
No, I don't think he knew
I
that.
think
Like
the
that.
Game felt that, this was family. And this is one of the things that hip hop used to sell artists on, like, Rockefeller family and this and that. And this is why Beanie Siegel and everyone else who felt a certain way really felt emotional about it, because these guys sell this whole thing as family. Puff Daddy and the family. So when Big Homie's on something, you're thinking, okay, that person gonna teach me. That person's gonna put me on. And one of the things the Game said that really stood out to me was the fact that that Dre didn't teach him anything financially. And everybody got on Game's case when he said that, Kanye's done more for him in this past week than Dr. Dre's done for his whole career. He was saying that Kanye spreaded the wealth of knowledge. That's what it was about. And it's not real. And I think a lot of the times those guys signed all these different contracts because they think that, okay, if I tie myself into this person's gonna look out. I might get hit on this end, but they're gonna look out for me somewhere down the line. You know what I mean? And that never happens. That down the line never happens. And somebody who he was never contractually obligated to, in Kanye West, was the one that actually shared the knowledge.
So I believe it's on the Doctor's Advocate. It might be on Old English.
Mm-hmm.
Or I forget which one it is, or it might be the Doctor's Advocate song. One of the songs, he kind of alludes to the financial disarray, so to speak, because he says on the Doctor's Advocate, last year I spent $1.5 million on my niggas. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's letting you know financially, like, what he's doing for his crew. I mean, it's like, if you know what his 4-way contract, I mean, who he had to pay, like Interscope, Aftermath, G Unit, Shady, right? So 4 different cycles of you know what I'm saying? All 5 million records. It's like, oh, that's not smart to spend $1.5 million, like on your crew. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't got it like that. You know what I mean?
Topping that with the super chat. Let me get some of these because it's kind of building up. He says, 50 ain't the MC Game is, but Game ain't half the songwriter that 50 is. Game consistently backflipping, ruining his comments' credibility. Well, I mean, people change their minds. Miss LB says, did y'all see Hit Boy on Sway? He played the track from Drillmatic. It sounds like it's going to be fire. I heard it. You heard it, Coop?
No.
You ain't hear it?
No.
Shit was hard. And Sway was going crazy, yeah. Hit Boy played like a little snippet of it. If you want to, go on the Twitter real quick while I'm talking to the people. And it's a real quick snippet, but it's hard. If you can find it. But yeah, I think
I'm not going to give the whole, 30-second snippet.
It's a 30-second snippet, but yeah,
like,
it's hard.
I mean, does it sound like Ali Boumaier or something? Sound like Ali Boumaier?
I mean, nothing sounds like Ali Boumaier, but it's hard. It's enough to make you anticipate the album and what you're going to get. Because, again, Game said in this interview that this is his best album.
Everybody says that.
Everybody says that.
No, Doctor's Advocate, if he feels like Doctor's Advocate is his best album, though, I would agree with him on that because he did put that album together by himself, and he is a much improved rapper. Like, I listened to tracks. I told you, Scream on Him is one of my favorite tracks because it's like, no, I mean, like, he can really rap. Okay. He can rap.
Dumb It Down says, y'all gassing Game. Nobody in the chat feels him. Yeah, that's wild to me. I don't know, man. Like I said, I was one of those people that really wasn't feeling him at first. What's that?
So that's very disrespectful to Game. Game's put out a very quality catalog.
He has. I think that people don't like Game as the individual. I think this is a little bit of T.I. type stuff. And you know what? I think the other thing too, man, him speaking against Eminem's greatness, that never gets you any fans. And I think that's why a lot of people are so reluctant to be honest about the fact that they're not listening to Eminem in the ride. You know what I'm saying? When you're riding out with 4 folks or whatever Stevie Jackson was saying, you're not going to pop in that Eminem. You know what I'm saying? Nobody in 2000 when the Marshall Mathers LP was like, riding out, about to head on a road trip wherever. Nobody's like, yo, man, put in that Eminem, dog. I mean, nobody in the locker room is getting ready to go play a game and getting hyped up and like, yo, man, you heard that new Eminem? Throw that shit in. Remember back when, I remember when the Blueprint came out. Speaking of which, and I know I'm going to get to that Renegade statement in a second too. But you remember when we used to go out, I think it was in Buckhead in Atlanta, man, like the Strip. You could tell what was popping based on what people were playing from their cars.
You mean Strip, the steakhouse?
No, not the steakhouse. I'm just talking about like the Strip where cars and people were passing. People were walking. Cars were passing by. And you were seeing people just, bumping their music as loud as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is playing any Eminem music.
So I think this is some of what happened with that. And I've always said this, and I and I believe I've echoed the sentiment on this show. Is that like, well,
Shady Nation says, "Lose yourself." I'm playing that shit in the gym right now, and your name is Shady Nation. Go ahead, Coop. I'm sorry.
no, you're all good.
Jesus
Well,
Christ.
I think when he did Any Man on Soundbombing, as a hip hop fan, I was excited because I thought we found a guy who was white, who happened to be in love with hip hop on a fundamental hip hop bars, rhymes level worth of spitting. And really what happened was that he got signed to an Interscope subsidiary, which is Dr. Dre's subsidiary Aftermath, and they put him in the machine. He was a hip hop MC once upon a time. And I think what really happened, and when people are saying, well, we really don't bump his shit, that's because they never made any sort of effort to really make him make hip hop records after that. That's why I still bring up Any Men off the Soundbombing, because it's one of those few times where you just hear him like in dope ass rapper mode, and that's actually what he's best at. Mike is just being a dope ass rapper with fly
But
words
can
on
he
the mic.
sell records like that?
I mean, when you're white and you're signed to Interscope and you have Dr. Dre, I mean, Game already broke down the game for you. He's like, well, you're white, so you're gonna pull in a white audience. He's like, well, you got Dr. Dre, so you got the streets. It's like, well, you got Interscope, so you got the machine. It's like, no, he wasn't going to lose. And so was he probably going, like, Mike, it wouldn't have, some of these songs that are on the album, they're not of hip hop orientation. And that's the problem with it. It's like, if you want to do that whole single thing, like, I think Guilty Conscience is probably the closest him and Dre did to a rap single. You know what I mean? On some hip hop shit, right?
I agree with you.
But if you want to do all those other songs, well, it's like, give us an album of a lot of that dope rap shit then. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, you got Dr. Dre, which means you pretty much got access and resources to anything. And it's like the fact that you don't have a catalog where we can go listen to your best stuff and hear about 3 or 4 hip-hop songs where you're on some rap shit, Mike. Because that's what you really do best. And that's really what got you in the door, even with Dre and all of those guys. It's like, you were white, but you were dope on the mic. It's like, go give me, like, no, there's no excuse that there's not a primo record at this point. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, you don't get to skip. You don't get to skip through that hoop for how dope you are as a lyricist and an MC that they've said and that I've even heard from you early on. So it's like, he should have just jumped through some hip-hop hoops and we wouldn't be having these conversations. He didn't jump through hip-hop hoops. He jumped through industry hoops. And that's why we're having this conversation.
Well, he was a pop star from the gate, right? Like you said, he had the rap foundation, but he crossed over immediately. And so I think that in that whole notion, he didn't build up like other artists, had to build up. But see, this is my thing. I don't think that on those records, and if he made some rap shit, I don't think he sells those records. I just don't. Dumb It Down says, with the super chat, hold that thought real quick, Coop. He said, Dumb It Down says, I love T.I. and this is not about him. Game is corny. Okay, you feel very strongly about that. Ray Realm says, do you think that Eminem is aware that we rarely listen to him? Respect to the man, his skills, and what he stands for, but the game can beat him in the verses. I think Eminem is very aware who he makes music for. I mean, he's at those concerts performing. He sees who is bobbing to these records. He knows who's playing what. He has counterparts who are hip hop fans as well. He knows what he came up on. Mamba RS400 says the game can obviously rap, but 90% of his bars is name dropping and cloud chasing. He always been a hard listen for me because of that. What were we going to say, Coop? I'm sorry, before I got into those super chats.
Well, I was actually about to say, so let's talk about the guy who's actually talking about Eminem in this regard, or I guess being the one that's kind of exposing it more or making it more of a thing in an open dialogue that's healthy to have. And I'm going to tell you what, Game is a perfect person to talk about all these situations because he's the one. He was there. So it's not like you got an outsider talking. No. This is an insider talking. This is a rapper from Compton. that was signed to literally all these subsidiaries, including this guy's subsidiary, has records with this guy. Like, no. He's not just talking out the side of his neck. And sometimes because he does it, much like Ye, it's not respected the way it should, but he's not off base necessarily with any of his comments. But if you go to Game's catalog, what's beautiful about the documentary is that the documentary provided the Game with the blueprint to make his records that he's kept. And that's why the Doctor's Advocate is what he's most proud of, because he's pretty much kept the ethos of the documentary intact, which is, well, I got to give you about 3 to 5 songs that maybe can be played on radio. I got to give my West Coast homies about 2 to 3 joints to let them know that I'm riding for the West hard. But on every Game album, Mike, and you know this, on every Game album, there's about another 2 to 4 songs, Mike. And the 2 to 4 songs are just what? It's just some rap shit, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Ali Boumaier is. Ali Boumaier is with 2 Chainz and Rick Ross. There is no purpose for that song to be like the second song on like one of Game's best albums, except for the simple fact that it's like, man, that's just some dope ass rap shit, isn't it?
No, you're right.
Hold on. Pray with J. Cole. Name Me King with Pusha T.
Is it a production thing? I think, all right, I want to break this down and get real nerdy about it.
And it's not hard to give us joints like that. And that's the problem with M, is what I'm saying. It's
M doesn't have a beat like Ali Boumaier in his whole arsenal.
But no, he doesn't. But also,
I don't think he can rap over that stuff. I'm just going to be honest. Like you said, there's no excuse for him not to have a premiere track. There's no excuse for him to not have so many different, you know what I'm saying, tracks. But I just don't think he can rap over this stuff. I just don't have the belief that he can rap over this stuff. Like, why would I? He got on the blueprint and got on a record like Renegade. And I don't care what y'all say about Renegade. If you took all the vocals off of this whole album, it's by far the weakest beat on that album. That shit sounds like it was made with a Casio, man.
I can't. There are so many MCs that he's better than. Like, when you say he can't rap over this stuff, I just don't believe.
I don't believe he can.
You don't think he can rap over a Dilla beat? Like, do you really?
I don't. Why would I? He's from Detroit. He's the only Detroit rapper that's never rhymed over a Dilla beat. Why would I think that he could rap over it?
That's why I'm bringing up Dilla.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why would I think he could?
Because he's
running from premiere tracks. He's not. I mean, Royce made Prime 2, and they even had Premiere make that.
Boom. They could have just made Boom, and I would have been good with that.
But I'm just saying, like, even what was that compilation they did? That shady compilation where Premiere did the Slaughterhouse song, and Eminem skips out on Premiere tracks, even on a shady record.
So I get what you're saying. See, I'm just trying to bring out the hip hop aesthetic of it. Then it's like,
I don't think he can rhyme over that stuff. I just don't.
So you don't think he could rhyme over that documentary 2 track on the documentary 2 that Primo gave the Game?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Man says you guys need to check out Zero's new album, Pressure. It's a banger. I'm gonna check that out. And then
you think he couldn't rhyme over Kanye's Wouldn't Get Far?
No. It's a banger, and it's in contention for album of the year. Amongst the legends need to be recognized and not shade. Tabanat says
on Zero.
Yeah, I'm gonna check that out.
From Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Tabanat says Till I Collapse still gets played as a pump up song. Did you or Coop like anything off of the Kamikaze album? Only recent M stuff I've liked. I listened to it once and I never went back to it, to be honest.
To be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of it, just in all honesty. No shade.
Tabanat also says the Game is a dope beat picker. Never got whack beats. It's true.
He is his dope beat picker. He is.
He is. He doesn't get a lot of credit for that. Oh, I was waiting for Brian. He said, the Game is a snake, bipolar hypocrite. Take 1. Game received far more help for the documentary than what M got on the Slim Shady LP. He's so fake. But what about the Doctor's Advocate, though?
Hold on, but let's stop for a second. Part of the reason why Game got so much help is because the money was different, because they signed M and did the records that they did with the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, and Get Rich or Die Trying. Like those aren't like the Slim Shady. And this is what I mean about Mike. He could have.
I got something to say here. Go ahead.
People need to realize this is that like, okay, so the Slim Shady LP, the first one, his real first album, not Infinite. That's not his real first industry album. It's not his real first album. That's a mixtape. But the Slim Shady LP did 3-4 million out the gate, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm trying to tell you is that his buzz had built up enough off of what he did and Dre signing him that on that second album, on the Marshall Mathers LP and on the Eminem show, no, Mike, he could have given you 2 to 4 tracks of just some straight rap shit.
Why do you think nobody's on his records, though, Coop? Because he's rapping over those whacked out beats. Nobody you know what I'm saying? Like, even when you listen to Dr. Dre and what he produces for Eminem, he changes up his sound when he makes an Eminem record. Let's look at 2001, right? Let's look at 2001. Mm-hmm. Listen to all those incredible beats on that album. And then listen to Forgot About Dre. Wow, 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 wow. It's different.
I bought an instrumental CD of 2000.
Yeah, and you probably skip over the Forgot About Dre beat.
I like the Forgot About Dre
beat.
It's
cool, but in comparison to the rest of those beats, let's be real. You want to compare that to Explosive. You want to compare that to Still DRE. You want to compare that to Next Episode. You want to compare that to even The Watcher. Come on, man. Jordan House says, Mike has a solid argument, but I don't think M is incapable of rhyming over things that ilk. Like when you stand up, when you stand up joint with Jazzy Jeff. I remember that. What's the difference, etc. Listen, I like What's the Difference or What's So Different or however they did it. But I think that M was off on that record. He wasn't hit. He couldn't have given you 3 verses on that. Stop the beat a minute. This is, you know what I mean? He wasn't on beat like that. LP says, Forgot About Dre beat is dope as fuck though. Is it? It's cool for the quirky shit. Well, it's cool, but it ain't no, let's be real, man. If you listen to the rest of the beats on that album, just like I'm talking about with the Blueprint, you go sit here and play Heart of the City. You go sit here and play You Don't Know. You're going to play the Girls, Girls, Girls beat, and you're going to play the Renegade beat? Seriously? And on 2001, we're going to sit here and play, we're going to play Forgot About Dre next to Still DRE. Damn, Explosive. Next Episode. It's levels, man.
Can we stop for a second?
If we're giving grades, man, if we're giving grades to these beats, Coop, let's be real. Those are A beats. What grade are you giving the Forgot About Dre beat, just based on the beat?
If I could speak for a moment.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. Well, Mike, see, I mean, I feel like you kind of unfairly weighted that argument because it's like, well, is the Forgot About Dre beat like an A+, so to speak? Like, no. But, Mike, then you proceeded to name some of the best beats we've ever
That's
heard.
what I'm saying. It's all happening in one session. Dre has to downgrade his beats.
Mike, you just named some of the best beats ever, and that's just not fair either. You literally proceeded to name.
I didn't switch albums. It's all on the same album. That's part of There's a consistent thing here. People have to lower their level.
Mike, but then you proceeded to name 4 of the best beats of all time.
But again, Coop, people have to consistently lower their level for him to get on a track and be able to do something.
So when you're saying that, that's valid. That doesn't change the fact that that's a dope record and that's a dope beat. Is it the best stuff on that album? It's like, no, it's not even better than the stuff that he wrote. I think The Watcher's better than Forgot About Dre. Beat-wise and rhyme-wise in terms of how it's executed. Because the message in there is stronger. And that brings... We're going to talk about that in a minute when we get to like the list and stuff. All I'm saying is that he could have just been on some Ali Boom Aye sometime. Or Mike,
can't make that stuff.
No, that's what I'm saying though. But like, why do you think I keep going to scream on him? Like every track, every record, Game has an album where he just does hip hop shit. No More Fun and Games. What's the Just Blaze joint? You know what I'm talking about? Right before Put You on the Game on the documentary.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. What's the name of that song? People in the chat help us out.
Yeah. How many? What did he say on there? You ain't got to peep game in his skills without these training wheels. Let's go through the city, your car. When chop you up worse than the Haitians will. Like he's just rapping. Like he does that on the album. Scream on him is like that. Mike, House of Pain on LAX is like that.
I like Bigger Than Me even. Like
Bigger Than Me. Hold on, the Bulletproof Diaries where he's going back and forth with Ray. What if I was from Compton? What if I was from Staten? I'd be King Kong knocking down buildings in Manhattan.
007 with the super chat says, if you're not incapable, prove it for the naysayers. That's what I say. And that's exactly what Game said too. He was like, listen, if y'all think M's better than me, prove it.
No.
It's just what it is, man.
I'm agreeing with that sentiment. I'm saying we're having this conversation and Game is saying this because Game's like, nigga, I got rap records.
Yeah.
I got hits.
And M ain't got rap records. He got hit records. And whenever y'all pull out those, whenever y'all pull out those streams and those Spotify record-breaking things from M, these are records ain't nobody in hip-hop spots playing. It's cool, you just sold records, but they're more pop records, and that's fine. I think Eminem's more of a pop star than a hip-hop icon, in my personal opinion. Jay Short says, they've done a masterful job of marketing Eminem as a quote-unquote underground artist, even down to his collaborations, pop culture, attacks, attire, and lifestyle. He's very similar to Pink in that way, right? Like, when Pink was coming out, she was supposed to be the anti-pop star, but she was actually a pop star herself.
Well, I don't know about that. They R&B'd her a lot. I mean, we know somebody personally. Our boy Matt was actually an intern at Dallas Austin Studio. Misunderstood by Pink was getting made.
Well, I mean the second album, because they kind of just totally rebranded her. You're talking about the There You Go Pink?
But that's why she got rebranded, Mike, is because that shit didn't work.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
007 says, M ain't top 5 because over time, output did not match capabilities. He has crazy talent, but too many other rappers have done more with less. And we're getting so much spam right now, man. The Eminem fans are very mad. Marcus Davis with the $20 super chat says, thank you, Michael. Then people got the nerve to call Nas a whack beat picker. Eminem is an incredible lyricist, but Nas is better, has better albums, and should have sold just as much, with just as much awards. An absolute travesty. I think that's a very good point. People want to claim that Nas is this bad beat picker. Nas has picked way better beats than Eminem. Are we ever going to call Eminem a bad beat picker? Because I think...
Hold on. You want to know what? Now, here's what I will say.
LP says that Eminem is the worst rapper / producer ever. Go ahead.
I will say this. I mean, the beats on the Firm album that people didn't necessarily care for, aren't those beats better than the beats that M be picking? Aren't those like different type of Dre beats? That's what I'm saying. Dre's more versatile as a producer sometimes than he gets credit for. But it's like, no.
Does Eminem have a phone tap from Dre?
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's like, no. I mean, why can't you do a phone tap or an executive decision or a Desperados?
He can't rap over that stuff, man.
Aren't those Dre tracks though? Correct me if I'm wrong. Those are Dre beats. Yeah. I know executive decision and phone tap. Those first few songs on the Firm album, Firm Fiasco, Phone Tap, Executive Decision. Like, you can't rhyme on those beats?
And
Phone Tap. He's spoken to himself personally loving Phone Tap as a beat. It's one of his favorite Dre beats.
Yeah. And I pointed out 2001 because it just shows you how much Dre has to switch to accommodate Eminem's style.
No, I'm with you. He switched on the Firm album, too, and we got Firm and Fiasco, Executive Decision, Phone Tap. This Desperados, is what I will take that. If you are giving me Phone Tap, we are going to take the switch.
In 1999, this is when Dr. Dre was making the Game No Wait remix for Warren G and shit. Like, we're getting beats like that coming out of the camp. Eminem ain't got no shit like that.
I think Till I Collapse is probably the first thing to it. So whoever made the Till I Collapse.
I think M might have made that.
Who?
I think Eminem might have made that. I could be wrong. Brian with us says, hot take, Eminem got a bigger club record than most rappers have ever had, where Akon smacked that. M produced that too. Superman is a big strip club record. You know what? I think me and Cooper are in Atlanta, man. So strip clubs here might be a little different than elsewhere. I've never heard Superman in the goddamn strip club in Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, or Miami, Florida. Cut it out, guys. And you know what? Smack That's not a good record. It might be a club record, might get some spins. That shit is trash. Let's be real, man.
Smack That is slightly entertaining, kind of in the same way that Way Too Sexy is, but Way Too Sexy is way better.
That's not even a comparison, man.
No, I'm going to give it a little bit of credit. But here's what I will tell you. I have heard, well, Mike, I've probably been a purveyor of these establishments more than you want when I used to. And I remember Superman did play at a couple of establishments down here when it came out. It was just those were the white girl clubs.
I was gonna say that's more of like an Oasis type jump off, right?
Well, Mike, you just named one, and I probably the other.
That must be like a cheetah type of jump off, I would imagine.
I was going to tell you Pony South.
Oh, forgot about that one. LP says, game mustering up fake beef for promo. M ain't responding to this. This has no need. Game is always with the funny stuff. Let the music speak, in my opinion. He wasn't doing that. He was just addressing conversation. Because he was asked, let's put this in context. He was asked by Matt Barnes about doing a versus with Eminem. And he said he beat Eminem. And then he went down on that whole tangent about ain't nobody really playing Eminem's records like that. He gave Eminem props as being a talented lyricist, but ain't nobody playing the stuff like that. LP says, oh, Steph, Dubs and 6. Yeah, I know. Yeah, LP's the fan. Good luck, man, for real. I think that they got a chance. Tapping out with the super chat says, I want a Dre album ghostwritten by Eminem. The Watcher is a classic. M's career turned when he made Rap God. That title turned the community against him. You know, maybe. I guess.
Hold on. What do you think about Beat the Forever?
I never liked that. That shit's corny.
No, beat wise. I don't care. No, I'm asking you beat wise.
That dun 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 dun. I'm cool on that, man. Like, I'm sorry, those beats have no soul to me, man. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not asking him to be Chuck D.
I'm asking. I can't bump that stuff, cool. I'm just being honest, man. Like, I never went to my car and was like, yo, man, I got to put on Forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Leroy
never did.
might have said something that I personally agree with. Game is better than Kendrick Lamar to me. Well, yeah, I prefer to listen to Game to Kendrick Lamar, even though I don't think Kendrick is better.
Let's be fair. Okay, since we're being all the way fair
Kendrick's
here,
not better,
and we're talking about him, right?
Catalog.
The same.
Listen to Game's catalog. It's like, man, cut that.
The same way that we're talking about. The same way that we're talking about Kendrick's current album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I'm not playing much on that record either. Like I've been telling y'all, I go back to Silent Hill. I like that song. But most of these records, I'm not putting in the Big Steppers, and I think it's brilliant, but I'm not playing it like that.
No, I feel you. So it's like, how about this? You know, I used to live in Cali. I still got people in Cali.
Shout out to Cali. I love Cali.
Love Cali. One of our homies is about to go to Cali. He's been hitting me up the last couple of days about a little Cali primer. You know, where to stay, what to do. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so when you riding through Cali, Mike, like, because he was talking about getting a rental. When you going through Cali, you know, when you're riding through certain areas, it's like, oh, no. Like, you can't play that cry together when you pull up on Will Shot. Like, you can't play that going down Slauson when you go into Slauson barbecue. Like,
you wouldn't want to.
But Mike, I promise you, if you play like that's something what I was just singing, like the shit with Anderson .Paak, Crenshaw 80s, Crenshaw, Gang signs, I'm out the window, gang, like the way Game's rapping on there, how the beat's going. If you were to put your top back, like play that, like niggas be looking at you. You could be on the out, niggas. I'll be like, oh, he, like even Game says it on the song. You don't gang bang, huh? That's that out of towner in you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
certain shit you can pull up to, man. Can't pull up to some of that stuff. Ray Rose
Right.
with the super chat
I'm not.
says, I know how Mike feels, but Coop, do you believe if M does an album with The Alchemist, slows the flow down a bit, that they can make a classic offering? I guess he knows that I feel like he can't rap over that stuff. But go ahead. What do you think?
Over. See, that's what I mean. When you're saying he can't rap over stuff, that's why I was giving you like some of the stuff, like, because I feel like even any man, it's like, that's what I mean when you're saying the stuff that he can't rap over. So you mean like that slow down hip hop, like you don't feel like he could rap over DJ Premier's Come Clean beat, do you?
No.
Right.
I don't think he look.
So
I don't think he can rap over anything soulful, anything rhythmic.
You're questioning his rhythmic timing and capability.
Yes.
You are. Because that's what the Come Clean is, a metronome beat, Mike. MC worth their weight can rhyme off the beat because it's like rhyming off the metronome.
Dilla's beats are the easiest beats to rhyme on for anybody with rhythmic capabilities. And the fact that you're from Detroit...
easiest. It's the most fun. As an MC, it makes you think the most. Like, oh, I could run and do this. I could run and do that.
Yeah. Right. Hearing the Dilla beat, it just makes me want to just rhyme straight up.
He makes.
And the fact that he's never rhymed over a Dilla beat is crazy. I don't think he can do it.
That's the most problematic thing. That's the most problematic.
It's crazy.
He's from Detroit. He hasn't rapped over a Dilla beat. Now that's
insane.
That's insane.
I'm sorry, man. If you from Detroit and you ain't rhymed over a Dilla beat, I don't know if I can consider you a Detroit MC. I can't.
I'm just gonna say it's very problematic, but that's what I mean.
And coming from the same era too. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean about he didn't jump through those hip hop hoops. They put him through industry hoops, and so Game is really speaking to the fact it's like, no. He's pretty much telling you, he's like, no, dude's a great industry rapper because he's white and he makes the money. They're gonna make sure he's a great industry rapper.
And he got the record sales to back those arguments. Because every Eminem argument is based on two things: record sales and cosigns.
What Game is actually saying, he's like, well, you actually got invited to the barbecue, but I'm actually asking you to attend the event officially. It's like, no, you got invited to the barbecue. It's like, no, bring this nigga outside. Let him come kick it. You feel what I'm saying?
I think the dope thing about Versus is shown how timeless certain people's records are, how well they've aged, and how hard it is to actually have a catalog where you could go 20 deep with somebody. You know what I'm saying? And all the adulation that Eminem has gotten in this culture, all people are doing is asking you to bring it out. Prove it.
Here's the thing about it, and this is going to seem striking to say. Objectively speaking, not personally who you're a fan of, like, you know, like if you're a fan of Scarface, you can probably go pull 20 records in the first 4 albums and be like, I got something that'll beat you. But that's if you're a fan. If you're probably being realistic, you probably get the album 6 or 7 before you be able to pull 20 Scarface songs that you could pull and put out. I'm saying this as a Nas fan. It's like, no, if I was just to go through his first 4 albums to have to pull stuff, it's like, I like it, but I don't love it outside of Illmatic because I'll have to pull all of Illmatic at that point, and I don't like having to pull all of Illmatic to do a 20-pack.
But when you got an album like that, you got an advantage.
No. Okay, so maybe he's not a good artist to go through because that's a succinct advantage. Let's go to Jay. Let's go to Jay's first 4 albums because he doesn't have Illmatic. Like Reasonable Doubt is like an all-time great album.
Yeah.
But the blueprint wouldn't make that stratosphere. But so those first 4 albums would be Reasonable Doubt, Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, right?
Yeah, I think he has a lot of heat even in that because you're getting a different Jay. You're getting that B-side Jay that he really leans on, which I think is some of his more quality material.
Right. That's okay. So what I'm saying is the quality material is there. That's to us as hip-hop fans. Objectively speaking, a lot of people who are fans of his now would miss some of this stuff. They'd be like, well, hold on, where's the guy that did the New York State of Mind thing with Alicia Keys? You feel
I think it would work in reverse with that, though, Coop. I think the fact that if there are people who are unaware of that earlier Jay, I think they would be pleasantly surprised about what they don't know. That's kind of what Reasonable Doubt was able to garner off of the strength of Volume 2 as well. For people who slept on it, they went back and was like, oh shit, this Can I Live is crazy. Politics as
Okay,
usual is crazy.
crazy. So here's what I would submit to you though, and this is personally one of my favorite J records, and I reference it often. How do you think Politics as Usual is going to play in a verses, actually, Mike? That's what I mean about those songs that would play. And so when you're saying, oh, he got a lot of heat in those 4 albums, it's like, no, that's the hip-hop head and fan in you speaking. You're thinking that Politics as Usual is about to play well in a verses, and, like, it's not. And that's
I don't know how well Dead Presidents plays in a verses, and that's my favorite Jay-Z record.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, Mike. Friend or Foe is not going to play in that format.
That's interesting. Hold on, let me get to the songs I think that will play well.
Friend or Foe's not gonna win in a versus.
Oh, let me get to the super chats real quick. LP says he was asked because he had been bringing it up. Yeah, I mean, well, he addressed everything that's been brought up about him in the news, and that's what you're supposed to do in an interview, right? Let me get to one of the other super chats. The chat's going crazy right now. Mad Max with the super chat. He says, LOL, M got waxed up by Big Sean, 3 different times, and twice with Royce on the record with him. Like M, but I like M, but the last time he was good was Recovery. It's a long time ago. Marquez Davis says, one of my favorite Nas joints is The Season, produced by Jay Dilla. Very, very dope record. M cannot, will not rhyme over that. Again, how in the blue hell is Nas not a good beat picker? Great question.
No, this is what I'm saying is that, like, okay, so if you're in a versus format, okay, so let's say, like,
what songs on Reasonable Doubt you think play well in a versus?
Off Reasonable Doubt?
Yeah, because I probably think more than you. I probably think more songs off of there will play well than you do.
I think Feeling It plays well.
Okay, I was on the fence about that.
No.
Why do you think Feeling It plays well and Dead Presidents may not? Or do you think Dead Presidents would?
Because how acquainted are people with Dead Presidents as opposed to Feeling It outside of, like, his core fan base? That's what I mean. It's like all of us who are Dead Presidents fan, we're of a certain era, of a certain ilk. He didn't even rhyme like that really anymore after 97, Mike. How many guys
performed Dead Presidents on Fade to Black, right? When he did that at the Garden?
Hold on. That depends who he's up against. If he's up against Nas, well, he has to play this stuff.
Well, that's a whole different thing. There's nobody else for him to go up against, honestly.
Right, like if he's up against Big, you telling me Friend or Foe's going to go against Big or Pac? That's what I'm saying. Look at the stratosphere that he's in. Friend or Foe's not going to play against Nas's best stuff, just beat-wise, because go look at Nas's best stuff with Primo. None of the beats sound like that. I'm not even talking about Jay on the record. I'm talking about the beat. It's not
especially if you're going back and forth against Nas from that era too, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
He's gonna play Nas's Like, and you're gonna play Friend or Foe.
I think Can't Knock the Hustle's gonna play well. Somebody in the chat said.
I think Can't Knock the Hustle and Feeling It play well. My favorite record is Politics as Usual. It's not gonna play well. How does Brooklyn Finest actually play?
I think Brooklyn's Finest plays well in the verses.
You think Brooklyn's Finest plays well? It's Big, so I'm always going to give Big the nod. Mike, how about this? Let's go to my 2 favorite records, which are The Evils and Politics as Usual. How does that play in the verses? That's 2 of his best songs.
I think The Evils may play well in the verses if it's done right, because we saw Murder Was the Case do it in the way that it did it. I think that.
Oh, Mike, let's not get. Hold on, let's stop. Let's not get it fucked up. The Evils is not Murder Was the Case.
No,
Murder
it's not. But I'm just saying the sample.
Banger.
No,
it's not. That is a banger of the highest order. Don't you ever do that. The Evils is a street
I'm just talking about sonically.
Murder Was the Case is a banger.
Murder Was the Case is crazy. I think I've said that on.
On that record.
I've said this on the show before. I think the moment where DMX, rest in peace, was going doing his verses with Snoop. And he played Slippin', one of the most incredible records of his career. I think it's possibly top 3, top 5. And I'm like, oh man, that's a given. And then Murder Was the Case came in. And I'm like, shit's different, man.
I know them niggas from the other side recognize the face because it's the OG, D-O-double-G, LBC. Mad dogging niggas because I don't care. Red jumpsuit with 2 braids in my hair. Niggas stare as I
into the center. You know, Snoop Dogg in that era, man.
That's a whole nother level.
Doggy Style Snoop Dogg, like Snoop Dogg in 93 and 94 it's one of those things, man. You had to be there to really
You did.
understand what that shit was. Like y'all see Snoop Dogg
Mm,
now, like with the
mm.
dreads,
That's
grays, and
different.
who's
That's different.
cool doing Corona commercials. Nah, man, like you had to be there to really understand what that Snoop wave was like. That shit was. I don't think there's nothing like it.
Oh my! I got my mama and my daddy and my mama and my Kona. It's gonna take a miracle, they say, for
For
me to
me to
talk
walk
again,
again and walk
walk
again
again.
with
But
anyone.
anyway, I got fronted some keys to get back on my feet, and everything that nigga said came to reality. Living like a ball of loke, having money and blowing hella chronic smoke.
I bought
Mike,
my mama a Benz. I bought my
he's got
people a
people saying
Jag.
these words who know nothing what they're talking about when he's making the song. You understand? When he's saying these words, there is a whole legion of people out there that know nothing what he's talking about and is saying this shit word for word. That is different.
Non Trize L Dog Rag. Blue Collar Hustle with the super chat says, we got Nas, we got Nas with the A&E hip hop series that he pitched back in 1999. That's crazy. A Supreme film debut at Tribeca, a Spotify podcast with 50 episodes celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Why are we talking about Eminem? We're talking about Eminem because Game addressed the possibility of Eminem and Game in a versus. LP says the Game is the same one who said for years that he don't want it with the white boy. He played into the M hype and helped build it up. He always name dropping. I mean, can he not change his mind? And again, we all get caught up. Game said he was new to the game. He was new to rap, period. So the more he learned about rap, he feels different. That's fine. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. I'm just gonna say this. There are people that I voted for that I was all in with 10 years ago. I feel different now. 007 says Nas will respond to Reasonable Doubt with It Was Written in a verses. He may spit a few verses a cappella, and that would be very problematic for Jay. I think that would. If he did the message a cappella, or he even did like shootouts a cappella, or I gave you power a cappella, that'd be very problematic. Mad Max says, hold up, Murder is the Case was not better than Slippin'. You might say that in a vacuum, but if you hear them side by side, you may feel different.
I don't think people understand. Murder was like, Mike.
If I saw them on a piece of paper and didn't watch the verses, I might feel you. I might be like, you know what, it's close. But when you hear them back to back, go back and look at that verses and tell me you feel that way.
Doggy Style is different.
It is very different.
It's different. It's different. You're not beating those records.
You're not beating those records. I said that before the verses happened. I was like, listen, those Dr. Dre
best rap songs ever.
I said those Dr. Dre
beats
one of the
best
different
rap songs ever. Like The Evils, as great as The Evils is, like lyrically, on a lyrical level, it's not one of like the greatest rap songs ever. Murder Was the Case is one of the best rap. Like Snoop had a run where he was literally in the process of making like 20 of like the 100 best rap songs ever.
When I listen to the Chronic and Doggy Style, I think
20 of the best 100 rap songs ever, Mike. Like,
listen, when I listen to the Chronic and Doggy Style, I say these guys made some of the best hip hop music ever made.
Mike, just real quick, can I interest you in Deep Cover? Is that one of the best 100 rap songs you've ever heard?
I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I would be mad if you said it was. They've made stuff that has even trumped that.
Nothing But a G Thing.
Yeah.
Let Me Ride.
Yeah.
Dre Day.
Yeah.
These Nuts. Lil Ghetto Boy.
You know what I think is one of the best.
Murder Was the Case. Lottie Dottie.
You know what I think is one of the best hip hop singles ever.
Doggy Dog World.
You know what I think is one of the best hip hop singles ever made is Who Am I? What's My Name?
What's my name?
The way that shit plays.
No, he went on a tear, Mike. That's a tear. Like from the moment that you heard him all the way through Doggy Style, like that's a tear. Those are like singles that some of like they're singles, but they're gangster, but it's great rap shit. It's like it's everything, and you're saying the words.
Go listen to What's My Name. I want everybody out there who may not feel what I'm saying to put their headphones on and listen to What's My Name. It's one of those records that from the intro to the first hook to the first couple bars, from the depths of the sea to the end to the outro, like the shit is perfect. It's perfect. I don't have nothing. I don't know what else to say. Like it's
Hold on,
perfect from the
hold on.
beginning to end. It's
Where
like Whitney's "I Will Always Love You." That shit is perfect from beginning to end. These are perfect records. The L
he
Web
is
100
I,
says "Murder Was the Case" is fire, especially the remix. Yeah, it is.
he is I, and I am him.
Slim with the tilted grim. You listen. How many lines is Jay taking from that record?
I
Uh,
mean, how many people have taken loans from Doggy Style? How does Nas come
right.
in the Uchi Wally remix?
Ray Realm says "Murder Was the Case" is the greatest story in rap history. Movie music.
That shit's
Sonically, that shit is
that's what I mean.
crazy.
It's different. That stuff is different. Yep.
Brian says M would easily be the biggest artist to do a versus. Snoop is close. No, I think Snoop's slightly bigger than Eminem. That's just my personal opinion, but I feel you. There's nobody else who has records that are bigger, that a bigger population of people know word for word. That's why the game would get murdered by M.
Okay, so
But
next,
are those people hip hop fans? You said bigger population,
no,
right?
no. Here's
Are
what I
those
was
people hip
hinting.
hop fans?
If the game and Eminem were to have a versus, we could do it in Detroit, and more of the Detroit crowd would know Game's lyrics than M's lyrics. You want to bet?
This is the thing, and I've seen this like with a lot of the younger
That's
Detroit MCs and many of the Detroit MCs from the past. They say M doesn't represent Detroit hip hop like that. I mean, they feel that way.
I
I
mean, some
mean,
people feel that.
even
Hold
when
on,
you,
listen to what I'm about to say. Some of Detroit feel that way about Sean. How do you think they really feel about him? They feel that way about Big Sean sometimes.
I mean, and
Detroit,
honestly, can you fault him?
no,
Like
Detroit niggas.
sonically, does he mirror anything that you hear in Detroit hip hop? Detroit has some of the best MCs that I've heard. I mean, and
Detroit,
sonically, what they
hold on.
do,
Like my Detroit fam that's down here,
I
they're like
love
some of
Elzai.
right, like my Detroit fam that's down here, they're some of the flyest niggas I know, just quite frankly. And so Sean does fit them in that mold because he's fly. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't talk fly like they talk. He looks fly like they look, but he doesn't talk fly like they talk. It's like, how about this?
I'm not from Detroit, right? But I would imagine that Sean is kind of like to Detroit, like what Luda was for Atlanta, right?
Very much so. How about this? Like, I got enough relationships with enough Detroit people to kind of like say that backhandedly because I've asked the question to my Detroit people about Sean. It's like, no, we fuck with him. We like fam. I'm like, yeah, but he ain't really talking y'all because he don't talk their language because you know what I'm saying? Like Detroit, Detroit not to be played with either, man.
Yeah,
You know
Detroit's
what I'm saying?
real.
Yeah,
And shout out
Detroit.
to T Grizzly too, man. Like
Right. How about this? How
it's a
about this?
whole different sound going on.
How about this? Boldy's talk is more Detroit. Sean's image is Detroit. Like if you were to take Boldy's talk and Sean's image and put it together, that's Detroit. Even when Pusha T's on Diet Coke, where he's like, Detroit nigga challenge, what's your dope like? Because like a Detroit nigga would be like, oh nigga, that's them type of gators. We don't wear them gators no more. Be like, oh, that nigga got the cheap Cartier frame.
So where does M fit in all that?
Right, like they different with it. It's like, oh, you got them Cartier frames? Like, nah, nigga, you got to get these Cartier frames, nigga. You feel me?
LP says Jay loses B-side versus to the king of B-side, Nas or Kiss, and loses the mainstream hit battle with Snoop, Wayne, Ye. He's stuck, in my opinion. He got to aim low. You know what? I'm with you. Maybe not on the Wayne thing. I've said on the show before that I think that Kanye would beat Jay-Z in the verses straight up. And honestly, after what I saw Snoop do in that DMX verses, I think that Snoop would probably beat Jay too in the verses. That's my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that Snoop is the lyricist that Jay is, but if we talking about in the verses, that lineup that he had for DMX, I think that would have beaten Jay that night. Jay Short says Doggy Style laid waste to everything that came before it. It reset hip hop like nothing we've seen since PE, BDP, and even Ice Cube instantly became dated once we heard Snoop. Legends back to the lab or retired. That's true because this is
Well,
'93.
So here's what Snoop did for the West Coast. That Chuck D inspired form of rhyming that inspired Ice Cube started to die right there with Snoop on the Chronic. And you kind of hear it in Cube too, because Cube's more laid back in the releases after the Chronic.
Yeah.
Not Doggy Style, because the Doggy Style's getting made while he's dropping some of his shit. But you can hear the difference in Cube from that, because like Chuck D's so inspirational to a generation. People don't understand how many people Chuck D inspired to rhyme.
Yeah.
That weren't from New York. Because Chuck D inspired people who weren't from New York, that weren't involved with hip hop, that it was okay to be black and proud.
Taught them about things they weren't hearing about in school.
Right. And so Chuck D is a big buy-in for that Ice Cube.
I've heard Method Man even say that.
No, all those guys, like, because Wu-Tang's 93, like all those, Chuck had people motivated and loving their blackness. And because they loved their blackness, Mike, even if they feel like they couldn't make it out their hood, guess what they felt like they could do? They felt like they could MC.
Yeah.
Chuck, yeah.
Nas the GOAT says, I'm sorry, but slipping is better. It hits your soul. I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. Murder Was the Case hit the system, though.
It hits the system hard, man. It's very tough to beat. In a versus format, it's very tough to beat. Man says Snoop had joints on Death Row soundtrack also. Yeah, Snoop got joints everywhere.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to how memorable Snoop is. Snoop has a commercial right now where what is the white dude saying in the commercial? Snoop D-O-double-G, right? What's he saying on Murder Was the Case? I know them niggas from the other side recognize my face because it's the OG, what?
Yeah.
D-double-G. That's what I'm saying. That's how long and how deep like that shit hits in the system. Okay?
He's an updated version of Slick Rick to an extent, you know?
He's the extension of, yeah.
007 says, the more y'all talk, the more M falls. His hip-hop contribution record-wise standpoint is weak. M has capabilities, but Sean is a better songwriter and rapper.
Then who?
Than Eminem. I think that Sean has songs that people are gonna ride to and play more than M does, and I think that, and I only say that because Sean and Eminem kind of stand out from, I guess, the other Detroit MCs, because, like you said, a lot of the Detroit MCs are kind of like the Detroit sound, whereas Sean and M are kind of like mainstream guys that are from Detroit.
Just the Detroit rhetoric. So here's what I mean when I'm saying Detroit rhetoric. I got a friend, you know the friend, it's a mutual friend of ours. Her husband's from Detroit. I put her on the phone one day with my homie who's from Detroit, because I was thinking to myself one day, I'm like, hold on, I'm like, your husband's from Detroit. I'm like, he might know my guy. I put them on the phone. They literally lived a few blocks from each other. One is older than the other one, but they had a mutual homie, and here's how the conversation went. I'm on speakerphone. I'm at their chat. This Detroit niggas talking. He's like, yo, he was like, you remember Lil such and such? I can't say his name. You remember Lil such and such? He's like, that was the nigga that always had the flash on the bike. He's like, remember when that nigga used to always have the Gucci shit, had a Louis Vuitton shit, had a whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, and they started naming the outfits and the styles of the outfits. He's like, oh, he had the such and such and such and such type of shades with the such and such sneakers that went with it. He's like, yeah, that's my nigga. That's how deep that shit run in Detroit with how they talk. That's that Detroit talk. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, well, M don't talk like Detroit niggas talk, and neither do Sean really. Like, Boldy talk like a Detroit nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, Boldy will tell you he's in the middle of doing a deal, but he'll tell you what he's wearing while he's doing a deal. That's Detroit nigga shit.
Well, it's like, you know, Atlanta has this too. Chicago has this as well. It's like with Detroit, you got the street shit on what Boldy's doing. You know what I'm saying? You got the street shit that's like, you know what I'm saying, on the younger side of things. And then you got the underground side of things, like, you know, what Black Milk and Elzai and all of these guys do. And, you know, it's like 3-4 dimensions here when it comes to what Detroit's doing hip-hop wise, right?
Right.
And it's like none of those things M really fits into. Not even the underground side of what Detroit does. And even though Royce is a well-known individual, Royce will make a record with Black Milk. Royce will make a record with Elzai. Royce will go out there and, you know what I'm saying, jump on a Dilla track.
That's why I said he's the best MC out of Detroit, though, because he does all the things.
But I'm saying it's like,
And he still
Why?
talks fly like a Detroit nigga. You
How
feel
can
me?
you be? How can you be considered one of the greatest MCs overall and you're not even that in your city? Is what I'm saying. And I think that's the point to me that makes me feel like, okay, well, yeah, he's a big star, he's a big pop star that actually raps. But if you don't mean that to Detroit hip hop, how can you mean that to hip hop altogether? You know what
So
I mean?
here is where, as a hip hop fan, he is so inflicted. I mean this sincerely. Like, let's say there was a battle rap challenge going on in Detroit right now, and all of the best of the best, current, like everybody showed up. Oh, if he walks in the room, he is the person that you're most concerned with, and rightfully so. You feel what I'm saying, Mike?
I
And
don't
you,
agree, but
Mike,
okay.
Mike, I know you don't feel that way. I know you don't feel
Prove
that way.
it. That's it's never been proven. These things are
Mike,
movies, man.
Mike, he proved it when he got out the situation. This is the scene that he come from. Part of this underground rap scene that you're talking about.
That was a million years ago.
It was a million years ago, but this underground rap scene that you're talking about in Detroit, well, he had something to do with it being such a thriving scene, because it is the scene that he got pulled from. Hip hop's biggest selling artist got pulled from the Detroit underground rap scene.
But this is the thing, though, Cool.
To do with that scene being a thing. No, Mike, he has something to do with that scene being a thing just for that alone.
We never talk about what Jay. We never talk about what Jay's done on the battle scene in New York. We never talk about what DMX has done when his battling days. LL, guys like that, because we don't have to, because they went out there and actually had a career and actually had records that makes it where you don't even have to talk about those things. No. Everybody from a certain era comes from a certain level of battling. If you come from the early 90s of rapping, and especially in New York, on a competitive level, you had to rap against other MCs because everybody was rapping. You had to find out who was the best rapper in the area. And how did they find that out? Without records, right?
No, and I agree with you totally when you were echoing that sentiment. But what I'm saying is, if you put all those dudes in the room, oh, he's the one that everybody's looking at like it's a problem, because he is. He's that kind of problem as an MC. He is. I don't care what you say, Mike. He's that type of problem as an
That's
MC.
Never been proven, man. I mean, we have grainy videos. We have a movie. We have a movie to go on. B-Rabbit, he might have been a problem, but Eminem, I don't know. The L Web 100 says, I always did like Snoop's work with the Neptunes too. Let's Get Blown is fire. Yeah, it is. I actually bought the album when I heard Let's Get Blown.
Let's Get Blown.
I used to be one of those guys that it would take me, for certain artists or for certain albums, it would take me 3 singles before I bought an album. Because I got tricked by that Rough Riders 2, Volume 2, you know. I talk about that on the show a lot. It really hurt my heart, man. And so after that, I was like, listen, man, I need to hear like 2 or 3 hot joints before I buy an album. And I bought Rhythm and Gangsta when I heard Let's Get Blown. And I love Rhythm and Gangsta to this day.
Rhythm and Gangsta is a great album.
I love Rhythm and Gangsta.
Hold on, Rhythm and Gangsta has Can I Get a Flick with You?
Yep.
Ups and Downs. That's one of my personal favorites. Ups and Downs is the shit. Yep. Drop It Like It's Hot, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's Get Blown. Bang Out is on there.
Bang Out's on there.
Bang Out's hard.
I Never Leave You is awesome.
I'll Never Leave You, yeah.
Dope album, man. I love. You know what? I might play that tonight.
The intro to Rhythm and Gangsta.
Alchemist did that, I believe. Speaking of Alchemist.
Alchemist did that intro?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that intro. No, that's a great album. That's one of his best 3 projects.
It's second, in my opinion. Tabernet says, any love for Danny Brown? Yeah. Danny Brown's part of the scene, too. Like, I love Danny Brown. These guys are Detroit, and it's like, I don't think that there's... You'd be far-fetched to find any MC that you guys have put in your top whatever, and they not have any connection to their city. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just so wild. But when you think about it in those terms, like, even with Kenny, even though Kendrick has kind of gone off and done his thing, he always made records with J-Rock. You know what I'm saying? He comes from making records with The Game. He comes from, you know what I'm saying, making records with Compton people.
But when's the last time he did it?
It's been a minute, but Eminem never did it. Jay Short says, why don't you guys rate M's last 4 albums? I mean, Y'all don't want to hear me rate those albums. What did you think about his last 4 albums?
Not a lot, but not a lot in the sense that it's like, first of all, I would have to, okay, so in all honesty and in full clarity, I would have to go back and pull the names up of all 4 albums and when they came out to tell you. No. Hold on one second, because I'm actually going to do that right now.
Okay, well, LP with Super Chat says Rough Riders Volume 2 was such a disappointment. Yes, it was. And you know what? At the time, I bought Volume 2.
Y'all got hosed. I could look at the track listing of that and tell that wasn't about to be fire, though.
Yeah. You know, I should have just bought Volume 1 because I bought Volume 2 and didn't have Volume 1 yet.
You didn't have Volume 1?
I was tripping.
That was money. That was okay. So Music to Be Murdered By.
Okay.
Kamikaze, which is taking from the Beastie Boys theme. It's the back end of the plane instead of the front end, like on License to Ill. I don't think people know that enough. And Revival. Okay, so the last 4 would be Music to Be Murdered By, Kamikaze, Revival, and the Marshall Mathers LP 2, which would be 2013. I'll tell you that the Marshall Mathers LP 2 was the last one that I listened to more than 2 times.
I'm going to be real, guys, and I'm not just saying this. I can't name 5 songs off of all 4 of those albums. Berserk's the only one I could think of. Walk on Water was on Revival, and I only know that because he did it with Beyonce, and I feel like that's got to be the biggest flop of a song of all time when you got Eminem and Beyonce on a record together, and it didn't chart anywhere. Tabernet with the Super Chat says, Forgotten Snoop collab album with the 213, The Hard Way. Hey, I love that record, too.
Forgot about that too. I haven't listened to that in a long time.
I actually like that album that he did with the Neptunes too. It was more of like, some singing going on and stuff, but it was cool. OG TK Cole, my guy, he says, I know I say this all the time when y'all speak on Eminem, but Coop, you're wrong on this one. Eminem didn't find himself until he started hanging out with the outsiders. I used to manage the outs. Tell him, OG. Oh, I want to know, OG, and you don't have to super chat to answer this. Was Eminem some super battle rapper like that? Because you were on the scene. You probably got the footage, and please send us the footage.
Okay.
LP says Juvie stole the show on Volume 1.
This is notorious stuff. So when you're saying it wasn't like that, you're like
This should be good, guys. This should be good. Go ahead.
You're talking about the collective from Jersey, right? Talking about Digga and all them, right?
Yeah. Young Z.
Yeah, all of them, and that's how he got plugged in. And that's how he got plugged into the whole, I guess, like that whole collective, like the Roots, Talib, like I guess that's how he got in that whole conscious rap group collective. Yeah. Correct? It's via the outsiders, right? Mm-hmm. So how old is he when he's coming in? Because I'm not saying that like that didn't shape it, but that's what I'm saying is that in that time period that he's talking about, what's his name? OG? Yeah,
TK? OG TK Cole, yeah.
OG TK, like in that time frame that I'm talking about. Those records that he was making around that time, that's what I'm saying that he is missing.
Do you think the MTV would have played those records?
Those records that collective inspired within him, that he was making, that path that he was on when he was with them. I'm not trying to take anything away from the inspiration, because him saying that is very plausible. But that doesn't take away the fact that he had something to do with Detroit's underground rap scene, and that doesn't take away my overall sentiment that we're really having this conversation, because he did not make these types of records. So I'm with OG actually. Like, I'm not saying that like he had found himself and he was this all-time great lyricist and battle MC. I'm saying he was the best shit smoking out of Detroit, and that got him to where you seen him at, where y'all maybe cultivated him and got him to a certain point. But I know that guy that I was hearing on Sound Bombing and those freestyles and on Sway, like all that shit that I was hearing, no, that was somebody that was more rooted in hip-hop fundamentals than hi, my name is who? Slim Shady. No, that wasn't the dude that I heard. And OGTK Cole will probably give credence to that too. And that's all I'm saying is that he should have balanced the two. It's like, if you're going to do that, go do this rap shit that you was doing.
I think that all right, there's a thing I believe and I remember back then it was like the backpack rappers were viewed in a certain way and the guys who actually sold albums were viewed a certain way in hip hop. And I credit Kanye West for bridging that gap. But I think that they probably felt like if M would have continued to do those records you're talking about, he would have been another like High and Mighty. You remember them? They
Yeah,
made,
of course.
yeah. And I
But,
think that,
but
that's what they were trying to stay away from. That's why you get a Hi, My Name Is. They weren't concerned with making hip hop records. And that's my only point. I know we want to give Eminem hip hop credit for his rhyming skills, but if somebody has those skills and they go out there and you intentionally make non hip hop records, can we give them hip hop credit? And I only say that because his music doesn't get played in hip hop spots because he wasn't making hip hop records. Do you feel like Hi My Name Is a hip hop record?
no, I don't. But that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that, like, so, and I've said this before. I really blame Dr. Dre for all of this, Mike. I really, really do. Because he knows
I blame
better.
Eminem for this because he can't rhyme over that stuff.
No. That's not how I feel. I feel like Eminem came along at a time where Dr. Dre was desperate. And Dr. Dre wanted to hit it big and hit it hard. And Eminem provided him, because of his lack of melanin, the opportunity to do so. And so he did not invest in the hip-hop community musically like he should with M. So this is something Dr. Dre's doing. Because when OGTK is talking about the tutelage of M with the Outsiders, it's like, well, there's a second level of the tutelage that was supposed to occur where Dre was supposed to keep certain things intact that got him here. Because here's what happens when you don't keep things intact, you get criticized to a degree. It's one of the things that Jay has struggled with. It's like, well, you came in talking a lot of big boy, dope boy shit. It's like, well, you don't sell dope anymore. And it's like, you believe in Allah now. And it's like, no. All of those things are beautiful for you. But that ain't really what you fed us. You fed me, the nigga that was rhyming out of apartment 4B. Me and my code D didn't have no key. Pick the mailbox lock, right? That's you, right? Like, that was you. That's the shit you sold me on. So when you talking about because Allah said so 20 years later, it's like, what happened to the nigga from apartment 4B? Can you give me some of that guy?
Well,
Can you
that guy's gone.
To be that guy. I'm asking, like, can you give me some of that guy from apartment 4B? Can you give me some 97 Hope? Is he there?
Nah,
Hello?
that guy's gone, man. This is what you got.
You get what I'm saying? And so what I'm saying is that M very early on, and I'm saying this about Jay in a complimentary way, they stripped that shit of M within a year or two time.
Yeah. But
Like,
they tried
Jay
to bring
kept
it
that
back
dope boy
with
shit
8
going
Mile.
on like, Jay still talking dope boy talk like on Watch the Throne. You feel what I'm saying?
But they tried to bring it back with 8 Mile, which I thought was smart. And I've said this before. I think them rebranding Eminem from the Marshall Mathers LP to the 8 Mile and the B Rabbit and the battle rapping character, I think that is genius. Because that's the image that they want to hold on to Eminem for his rap legacy. And I bet you when he gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he's going to come out to Lose Yourself, hoodied up on some real rap battle stuff.